Hey, everybody. It is Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. Central Time, and I'm Dr. John Sherk, and that means this is Brown Bag Lunch, coming to help you with all kinds of tips and tactics to help you get all the talent you need to make your business dreams come true. So, what I want to talk about today is strategy, your recruiting strategy. If you're a small company owner, or if you are the director of recruiting for Fortune 500, both this applies to both sides. So strategy begins with what resources you have, and then turns to how you deploy those resources. Okay. So whatever, if your recruiting goal is one guy, or if your recruiting goal is 10,000 hires, this, what I'm about to say, applies. You have three resources. One is the number of people you can deploy. Two is the number of dollars you have to spend. And three is the number of hours you have personally to apply yourself to the outcome. People, dollars, hours. So let me lean into right now the say the owner of a family-owned air conditioning company, and you know you could do more business, but you don't have enough technicians, and you can't find good ones. What do I do? Okay, so how do I increase these three areas: people, dollars, and hours? Well, number one, with people, the most commonly untapped resource in that kind of smaller company is the entire workforce. So, the most that's commonly done is, hey, I'll pay a $500 bonus if you can bring in somebody, something like that. But that's that's only scratching the surface. Okay. So here's what I would do. Yes, go to the next safety meeting. Yes, say we need some more techs. Yes, offer the bonus for sure. But then ask them this question. I want to have an honest conversation with all of you technicians, due to the safety meetings, so all the techs are there, and say, I want a list of reasons why somebody would want to work here and why somebody would not want to work here. And I need it from you because I'm not you and I don't want to pretend I'm you. And you go to work on making yourself the place every technician would want to work. Now, this is going to have benefits beyond recruiting, obviously. I mean, if you're, one of the unique things about an air conditioning situation is that it's it's not like other work situations where people are out doing things as teams. A lot of air conditioning technicians and other craft labor technicians are by themselves going to some home or some work site to do something. And the quality of the work that comes from that depends a lot on their engagement and attitude that day. Now you would say, look, you guys are getting paid. You guys are professionals. Do your damn job. Point taken. Point taken. And we could say the same thing to you, owner. Are you doing yours? Because your job extends beyond the paycheck. Are you creating the environment that makes them want to keep going to work with you and for you? Okay. Now, there's common issues there that I'm not going to get into right now because it's less important that you think in terms of what all companies face, but it's much more important. It's way more important that you have this conversation with your workforce where they get to tell you what they don't like and they wish you would change it. And you can't turn it around and blame it on them if you really want to do this. Begin that conversation. Now, look, if you're the kind of company where that doesn't get talked about very much, it'll be really clunky at first. And they'll say ridiculous things. Well, I wish we could only work one day a week and make all the money. And, just get through that, get to more reasonable problems to be solved, and then go to work solving those problems. And then, as part of that, invite your people to recruit their other friends who are techs, other people they see at the parts house to come and work with you. Increase the number of people engaged in the problem you're trying to solve. Number two is dollars. This is a tougher one. What's your budget? Now, what I would want to do with you is think in terms of long-term ROI. If you have a technician and he works for you full time, how much profit does he generate for you? And how much would you be willing to pay in order to create that cash flow stream? Okay. Now, you take a look at it and you say, if you say, well, I'd give 20% of the gross profit from the first year. What's that number for you? Right? I mean, when you look at it in this way, recruiting starts looking a lot cheaper. Okay. We just have to get past the idea. We have to get past the idea that everybody out there that we want to hire is out there looking for a job, because they are not. No one you're recruiting is looking for a job. I recruit all the time. I never talk to someone who's looking for a job. They're always saying, well, I'm working here, but there's dynamics I don't like. I want them to change. I'll hear they don't respect me. I'll hear, those kind of things. I've talked to at least, I'm sure, thousands at this point of technicians, air conditioning technicians. And I have yet to say, so tell me your situation. And they go, I just want a job and I just can't find one. It's just not real. It's not happening. You got to get away from it, get it out of your head. Hiring a technician is an ROI proposition. How much money will that technician make you in the first year? And what percentage of that would you be willing to pay in order to make that technician your employee instead of someone else's? Right. And it's not just paying a recruiter, it's paying Indeed, it's paying a sign-on bonus, but you got to think in terms of ROI, not in terms of a raw cost that number looks ridiculous to you. Okay. So that's the way to get to more dollars, is thinking ROI on that hire, instead of hiring should be free because I'm already paying them so much money and I'm putting them in a truck and I'm putting up all this cost. Yeah, but you wouldn't do that if you weren't going to make money on them. So how do you want to use that money you're going to make on them in the first year? What percent to get them there in the first place? Okay. Now, third is hours. And by hours here, I'm talking about your hours. Owner, service manager. How much time on the calendar can you allot to solving this problem? Here again, you need to, at least to some degree, think in terms of the ROI for your time. That's part of it. But it's also an issue of how painful is this for you? Right? This kind of overlaps with the issue of the number of people available, because in order for you to fully empower, to fully energize the entire workforce, it's going to take some of your time. It's going to take some of your sincerity. It's going to take some conversations with you, with some of your best people, and saying, we need to solve this problem together. And they need to feel that from you. And they can't do that if you don't have time for any of this, right? If you just take this problem, especially if it is a core problem for your business and you want to delegate that to somebody else, I just kind of want to say, are you sure? Are you sure? Because it doesn't matter if you get more big customers if you can't deliver on that contract. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how thrilling sales is to you if you can't deliver what you're selling. So if this is a core problem, what kind of time do you have to solve it? Now, sometimes that means actually doing the recruiting and talking to technicians yourself. And there's a whole other curve there that we could talk about offline if you want to, about if I'm doing the recruiting, what do I do? Because there's, again, no one is looking for a job right now. They're looking for better jobs or more opportunity. But the idea that you're offering the job just puts you in the pool. You're just a guppy in the Atlantic. If you're going to really recruit, you got to be able to really understand that person you're talking to. What are their active problems and what gets solved for them by coming to work for you that doesn't seem to be able to be solved where they're at? Just yesterday, I talked to a guy. He's in a very small company. He's got a lot of experience. But they're constantly pulling him out of scope from what he was hired to do because they don't have other people. And that for him was very frustrating and was a basis for leaving that company and going to a new one if that problem would get solved. That's what I'm talking about. You have to understand what problems they have that you could solve. If they have a problem that you can't solve, obviously that's not a basis for making a move. But if they have a problem you can solve, then that's the way you recruit. And as the owner, you have the most capacity to make an offer to solve a problem. If it's just your service manager and they don't know for sure if you'd be willing to solve that problem for this technician, they can't solve it. So your involvement, your time is critical. Okay. So think it through. How do I get the number of people to go up? How do I get the number of dollars right sized to solve the problem? And how do I look at the number of hours I spend as the owner or service manager to solve this problem on a regular basis? That's it. Hey, if you'd like to talk sometime, please reach out to me, comment below this. I'd love to get on the phone with you for 15 minutes and chat and just see if we can, um, you know, do some business together or just get to know each other. My name is Dr. John Sherk, and this has been Brown Bag Lunch. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next week.